place is called Camp Crystal Lake.
Many years ago, a young boy drowned in the waters of Crystal Lake while his camp counselors were preoccupied with drinks, drugs, and premarital sex. In an act of revenge, the boy's mother spent years secretly killing off those responsible and anyone else who attempted to reopen the camp. But one night, during her latest attack on a group of counselors, she found herself on the wrong end of a machete. Unknown to her and her would-be victim, her son Jason, mysteriously still alive and now a grown man, watched on from a safe distance as his mother was decapitated by a young woman in an act of self-defense. I'm Cinematico Magnifico of AmoralCrackpot.com, and tonight we're taking a look at the 2009 remake of the highly influential slasher film Friday the 13th. Unlike many of the remakes that have come about in the past 10 plus years, director Marcus Nispel presents something that is more akin to that seen in Toho's various generational reimaginings of Godzilla. Rather than recreating the events of the original movie, Nispel gives us a movie that instead is a direct sequel to the original. Mrs. Voorhees' fate is sealed in the opening credits of this movie, and we pick up years later with a group of college co-eds hiking through the now abandoned campgrounds in search of a legendary secret marijuana farm. Soon enough, the newly envisioned Jason Voorhees appears much as he did in the original 1981 sequel, with a bag over his head rather than his iconic hockey mask. But throughout the course of this movie, he becomes more like the Jason most horror fans fondly recall, but with a new twist that I believe proves to be a great improvement over the original. Rather than being depicted as a fairly mindless killing machine, this version of Jason is more akin to a survivalist, utilizing various well-crafted and planted traps and tricks in which to catch his prey. He's less great white shark and more great hunter, adding a new twist to what has long become a tired formula. Unfortunately, like much of the rest of the franchise, Friday the 13th 2009 is a fairly lackluster experience in regards to its story, in so much as it hardly has one at all. Instead, we have two intermingling plot threads that work to pull the audience through a series of entertaining character moments and death sequences. This amounts to a fairly shallow overall experience, but one that is still one of the stronger cinematic experiences to be found in the series' 30-plus year history. And while it would have been nice to see a drastically different take on the franchise, one that digs deeper and wider than any entry thus far, Friday the 13th is nothing but consistent in sticking to what made the long-running series so appealing to horror fans for over 30 years. Yes, the story is practically non-existent, but there are some interesting victims who get some time to shine before Jason inevitably and invariably appears to kill them in creative, unique ways that make great use of practical effects. It's a tired formula, but one that this movie proves can still work after all this time. You can follow Amoral Crackpot on Facebook and Twitter, and also be sure to leave any questions, comments, and suggestions for future reviews in the comments section below, and maybe discuss today's movie at greater length. Tomorrow night, we'll be taking a look at the 2010 remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street, featuring Jackie Earle Haley in his only appearance as the iconic Freddy Krueger. But until then, I'm gonna make like a tree and get out of here.